man went to a hotel and walked up to the front desk to check in. The woman behind the desk gave him his key and told him that on the way to his room, there's a door with no number. It was locked, and no one was allowed in there. She explained that it was a storeroom, and that it was out of bounds. She reminded him of this several times before allowing him upstairs. So he followed the instructions of the lady at the front desk, going straight to his room and going to bed. However, the insistence of the woman had piqued his curiosity, so the next night he walked down the hall to the door and tried the handle. Sure enough, it was locked. He bent down and looked through the wide keyhole. Cold air passed through, chilling his eye. What he saw was a hotel bedroom like his, and in the corner was a woman whose skin was incredibly pale. She was leaning her head against the wall, facing away from the door. He stared in confusion for a while. Was this a celebrity? The owner's daughter? He almost knocked on the door out of curiosity, but decided not to. As he was still looking, the woman turned sharply and he jumped back from the door, hoping she would not suspect he'd been spying on her. He crept away from the door and walked back to his room. The next day, he returned to the door and looked through the wide keyhole again. This time, all he saw was redness. He couldn't make out anything besides a distinct red color, unmoving. Perhaps the inhabitants of the room knew he was spying the night before and had blocked the keyhole with something red. He felt embarrassed that he had made the woman so uncomfortable and hoped she had not made a complaint with the lady at the front desk. At this point, he decided to consult her for more information. She sighed and said, "Did you look through the keyhole?" The man told her that he had, and she said, "Well, I might as well tell you the story of what happened in that room. A long time ago, a man murdered his wife in there. And we find that even now, whoever stays there gets very uncomfortable. But these people were not ordinary. They were white all over, except for their eyes, which were red." You get a phone call from your mother. Since her car has been in the shop, she asks you to go to the grocery store and pick up a few odds and ends for her. Bread, milk, cereal, and chicken breasts. After writing down a small list, you reluctantly get in the car and pick up the items at the store. The lady cashier makes an odd remark to you. "You know, we're in no danger of a milk shortage." Upon arriving at her house, you knock several times. No answer. You decide to try the door. It opens. You place the grocery bag on the counter. Strange. There seems to be 6 other grocery bags, each with identical contents. In a couple, the chicken and the milk have gone bad. "Mom?" you call out, but no answer. You make your way through the kitchen and into the living room. Sitting on the couch, with her head severed and neatly resting on her lap, is your mother. Naturally, you call the police, who come over to investigate. They mention that she has been dead for nearly a week. Furthermore, the police psychiatrist is at the scene and talks to you after you give your initial statement. Sitting on the front steps, you overhear the psychiatrist talking with the crime scene investigator. "It's not uncommon for people suffering from schizophrenia to get locked into a series of repetitive behaviors," he says. You think to yourself, they can't be talking about me. Schizophrenia? No way. Repetitive behavior? Do they think I did this? Suddenly, your cell phone rings. Hello? "Hi, hun. It's me. Could you stop at the store and pick up some chicken and milk? Oh, and I need some bread and cereal, too." "No problem, Mom. I'll be right over." They're everywhere. Sometimes they just choose to let you see them. He crawled into the hospital on his hands and knees that day, soaked in his own blood, his wild eyes darting quickly from left to right. He reached out for people, grasping at thin air like a madman. It was a quiet night, and he quickly caught the attention of the doctors. His mutilated body was so distorted people didn't dare look at him. 2 men grabbed his arms and legs and hurled him onto a stretcher. Then he stopped. The man was still. He just stared at the ceiling silently. All of a sudden he jolted up, shaking violently. He grabbed a doctor's hand and began muttering gibberish. Coworkers stood in absolute shock. With some ungodly strength, he crushed the doctor's hand. His bones could be heard snapping. Finally, he fell back onto the stretcher, still once more. And as abruptly as it had started, it stopped. With his last breath, he whispered, "They are everywhere. Sometimes they just choose to let you see them." To this day, no one knows what happened to that poor man, but it has never happened since.